Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Let's just dig right into it. With all the talk of Canelo Alvarez stating that he'd be more willing to fight a Triple G Gennady Golovkin if he has a belt, has brought a lot of questions from a lot of viewers and subscribers. And the natural question is, what's the next step for Triple G? Because does Triple G attempt to attain the belt right away? Or what happens if Triple G doesn't get the belt? So what we're going to do is we're just going to get right into it and break that down, because at the end of the day, I think that the natural order of things is that Triple G's taking a tune-up. Then you see a Demetrius Andrade is the only other champion that's left at this point that has a world title. See, Danny Jacobs is unifying with Canelo Alvarez, and we believe that Canelo Alvarez will beat Danny Jacobs in a very close 50-50 rugged, tough fight. So should Canelo Alvarez be successful like we're thinking, should everything go according to plan and Canelo Alvarez picks up the victory, you could see the potential matchup being set for Canelo Alvarez at the end of the year to unify all the belts. And you have Canelo Alvarez take a tune-up in September, unify at the end of the year in December, and a big splash. And that big splash would be the winner of a Gennady Golovkin versus a Demetrius Andrade. And just like Canelo said, if Gennady Golovkin has a belt. And you have to look at Canelo Alvarez's words, because think about it. How can Gennady Golovkin get a belt if Canelo fights Demetrius Andrade next? That makes no sense. It would only make sense if Gennady Golovkin fights Demetrius Andrade next and then fights Canelo. And so you have to understand that Canelo Alvarez has already stated that he's going to fight 3 fights this year. And no top-level fighter, not even Floyd Mayweather, fought 3 elite opponents back to back to back. So it would make sense that Canelo Alvarez would take a tune-up fight in September against someone like a Jamal Charlo. And then you have Triple G and Demetrius Andrade fight somewhere around September for the last belt. And then the winner of that fight meets Canelo Alvarez in December for undisputed. So let's break down a potential Gennady Golovkin versus Demetrius Andrade fight. I think that's a very interesting fight. And I also think it's a very close fight and maybe even a 50-50 fight, because styles really do make fights. Gennady Golovkin's an proven elite level fighter. He has 38 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw with 34 knockouts. He's had 2 very close competitive fights with Canelo Alvarez, some of the best fights we've ever seen. So we have to give credit where credit is due. Triple G is 37 years old, so he's a little bit on the downside of age, but he still has plenty in the tank. He hasn't absorbed a ton of punishment, only in the Canelo fights. Triple G is 5'10.5" with a 70-inch reach, so he has pretty good size and height. Now, if you look on the reverse end against a Demetrius Andrade has not tasted defeat as of yet. He has 27 wins, no losses, 17 knockouts. He's 31 years old, so he has the youth advantage on a Triple G. Then you break down Demetrius Andrade's dimensions. He's 6'1" with a 73.5-inch reach. So if you look at it, Demetrius Andrade's not only going to just be the younger, fresher fighter, he's going to have a height and reach advantage over Gennady Golovkin. Gennady Golovkin is not an elite level overall pure boxer. He's an elite level fighter, but he's not an elite level pure boxer. What that means is that Triple G may be elite as a fighter himself, that his boxing abilities and being able to diversify his attack is not something that Triple G is necessarily elite in. He gets hits a little bit too much. Canelo Alvarez exposed that. You can time his shots. Canelo Alvarez exposed that. And we've seen that in other fights, even with Danny Jacobs. But Triple G has an elite level jab, in my opinion. He has a jab that's strong enough that can win fights against a very slippery, tricky guy like a Demetrius Andrade. So I think that that's what makes this a 50-50 fight, because Triple G is an expert at cutting off the ring. He has an elite level jab, and he's one of the hardest punchers, if not the hardest punchers at middleweight, depending on how you view him. So I think that would make this a very interesting fight. And now if you look at a Demetrius Andrade, he's been very active since coming off his layoff, and he's recently fought Walter Kakandankwa, basically at the end of 2018 in October, and then at the beginning of this year he's fought Arthur Akavov, and now he's looking to fight a Magi Sulecki. And so he's looking to have 3 back-to-back fights, and that's going to keep him fresh and crisp coming in against a Triple G. And so I think that would make for a great, exciting fight. Triple G had 2 of the most difficult fights of his career against Canelo Alvarez, with the tune-up and Avanes Martirosyan in the middle. Triple G is going to take another tune-up, and I think that that's going to make for a fantastic fight against the Demetrius Andrade. I think that's truly a 50-50 fight. No more in the time of boxing than right now have I seen so many 50-50 fights. People say all these fights can't be 50-50. Well, you have a stacked middleweight division with top-level guys, world champions. Danny Jacobs, world champion. Canelo Alvarez, world champion. That's a 50-50 fight. Triple G, Demetrius Andrade, that's a 50-50 fight. And people say, well, how is that a 50-50 fight and Demetrius Andrade hasn't proven what Triple G has proven? You have to look at Demetrius Andrade. He has a height advantage, a reach advantage, a youth advantage. He's undefeated, very confident, fresh, sharp, has a diverse array of skills. And then you look at Triple G, who's always been somewhat limited defensively and offensively. And then even on the reverse end, you look at Triple G, who's also on the downside of the age and just come off a very grueling fight with Canelo. So at this point, because of all of those factors, you have to make this a much closer fight than anyone has even anticipated. I think it'll be a fantastic, tremendous fight. I don't have a guy that I have give the edge to as of yet. I think it's too close to call at this point. But once again, unbiased as always, it's the IBFP. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.